Okay, I think we are live. Let's get all the peoples invited over. If you were here, give me a shout out. Tell me hello. Tell me hi. I think this is posting in the event itself as well. Okay, let's get some people invited. I'm hoping you're getting the invites. I had somebody tell me yesterday they did not get the invite, and I'm trying. That's the only way I know how to do that. If you're here, tell me hi, tell me hello, tell me how you're doing, tell me how you're feeling, tell me what's going on in your world. How does everything since yesterday from our day one live stream? How are the downloads landing with you today? I'm just going to get everybody invited over. Let this take a moment. Okay. Today we are talking about the sacral and divine feminine goddess energy. Tapping deeper into that. Okay. Getting everybody invited, as many people as I can, as it will let me. Doesn't let me invite everybody, but if I can get the majority of you, maybe it'll hopefully let you guys know that we're live here. I do hope you are following the group. Teddy knows I'm going live again. He's getting comfy on his little pillow. We go through this in every single live stream I go through. He's like my little baby. He's like my child that hangs out with me all the time. Okay. Okay. Invite. Trying to invite everybody over. Okay. Maintenance in the beginning just takes so much time to get there. Okay. Maybe I should stop inviting. Hi. Hello, Kim. Hello, Patty. Hello, Blanca. Hello, Brenda. I watched the replay last night. Love. Awesome. Feeling extra emotional. I'm so glad that you're here. Sheba is here. Melanie, hi. Brenda here. You got the notification. Awesome. Katrina, hi. She's like first. Hi. Okay, so I'm so excited. I'm so excited to connect with you guys tonight. Moving up the chakra system, moving into the sacral. Throat is definitely wanting to clear today. We have a lot to talk about, but before we get started, I just wanted to mention a couple things. We had sent out the email from the day one live stream this morning. When I get finished with this live stream, day one is disappearing from the group. It is gone. It is disappearing from the group. If you did not get, because Tanya can't be here with us tonight, so I'm going to be working off my laptop and here, so y'all just bear with me. If you did not get your email today with the replay, I'm going to ask you to email Team Malia Dawn so that we can get that over to you. So let me just find out where we are right now. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, I am going to put the email right here in the comments. Dawn@yahoo.com. Okay, yeah, that Team Aaliyah Dawn at yahoo.com that I just posted. You did. Okay, awesome. that is going to be if you need any kind of assistance, or you need any help with any programs or anything that we're doing, or you need some clarity on something, please email teamaleadon@yahoo.com. That's how we're going to be answering you from now on. It's so much easier to answer from there than from the Facebook messengers, because we get busy throughout the day and we've got a lot going on right now. So we do check the email every single day, every single night. So if you are, so we'll catch you within the 24 hours that you sent us a message, okay? If you did not get the day one email, please send us a message to teamaleadon@yahoo.com, and no, not at Yahoo, at Gmail. Oh my God, look at what I just did. Look at what this is why I'm dangerous on live streams by myself. Let me just edit that. Hold on. This is why I need a whole slew team of people, because I'm so dangerous by myself. Hey Morgan, it's teamaleadon@gmail.com, not yahoo.com. And I just suggested that, so hopefully it'll update in a minute. Anything that you need, if you're not getting the live streams, please message us and we'll see what happened. Maybe you're not registered. And if you're not registered, you need to get your booties registered so that you're getting them in your emails, because it's going to disappear now after this. That's number one. Number two, we're running a contest with this challenge, right? We're running a little contest with this challenge. I'm doing 2 big giveaways at the end of the challenge. That will be delivered on Tuesday, next Tuesday, not next Monday, but next Tuesday. I'll be doing a whole name pull for some really cool gifts to 2 people. So one of the things that I will ask you separate from the video in the group, is what were your takeaways from this? For everybody who posts what their takeaways were, you will also get an extra entry. So signing up for the event gives you an entry. Being a part of Mystic Her gives you an entry. Watching this live stream or watching the replay in Mystic Her gives you another entry. And then answering that post also gives you an entry. And if you do sign up for the Esoteric Emergence, we're going to give you a couple extra entries, right? So we'll be pulling that on Tuesday next week. So it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have everybody's name in a little hat. I do it totally old school. Okay, so today we are talking day 2. When I get the content started, there's going to be some real talk in here today, okay? So if anybody gets offended around like the word orgasm or anything, it's probably not a good time to be here, because we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into that a whole bunch, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. But one of the first things that I want to say is that when we start moving up into the sacral chakra, we're actually starting to connect with the divine feminine, the goddess energy. The sacral is at the groin area. It's in the front of your energy system, and it's in the groin area. And it is kind of like the governor of your reproductive system. It's the governor of your lower abdomen, pelvic area. Okay, so it governs all of that entire area. And a lot of times when this chakra is kind of unbalanced, you may notice that you're getting, like yeast infections. You may notice that you have like really tough periods. You may notice that you're also going into like early menopause, or having menopausal kind of like symptoms. You may feel like achy pains in the lower bellies and into the hip and into the lower back. You may notice that there's just like a lot of discomfort around your periods, a lot of discomfort around certain foods. This sacral energy loves the energy of fruit. And I did not mention this yesterday, but the root chakra is like your legumes, your rices, your oh my God, nuts, seeds, those kind of things. The sacral loves fruit. If you think about, even the apple and the wisdom and bearing fruit and all of that, the sacral is a fruit. Feeding it fruit. If you feel like your sacral's off, make your fruit smoothie, grab a piece of raw fruit or something like that. It does love fruit, and all kinds of fruit. People are like, oh, it's got to be an orange fruit because it's an orange chakra. No, any kind of fruit actually will help to put that chakra back into balance a little bit and help to begin to maybe relieve some of those symptoms that you're having. The chakra color for this is orange. So you could use color energy and wear a little bit of orange in your day to help kind of align. I love working with color energy. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day. But you could actually wear some orange or represent some orange to kind of bring that chakra into balance as well. But this is more about the deep dive work and not so much. Those are like little superficial things that we can do. But this sacral chakra is the deep dive work, right? It's the deep dive work. And I often say that in this neo-spiritual culture that we have going on right now, I think the goddess gets a bad rap. I think she gets a, well, no, not necessarily a bad rap, but maybe just kind of like an off definition as to who she really is. Because we often think about goddess energy when we start talking about divine feminine energy. We think about moving in flow, moving in ease, moving in love and balance and motherhood and nurturing and all that stuff. And, you know, that is very connected to the divine feminine nature. But she's also represents deconstruction, destruction, passion, rage, and sensuality. If you ever worked with Kali, for example, which is this huge deconstruction. She's like the hurricane that comes in and swirls everything up. So we have to take a deeper look at what's underneath. So working with divine feminine energy can be all those things. It can be flowy. It can be, because when we start talking about divine and feminine energy, we start talking about flow. We start talking about goddess energy. With money, one of the things that we can say about the divine feminine is that she knows that as she speaks and as she creates, she doesn't chase after things. Things come to her, right? And so we get this kind of idea that that's what she's all about. But she's all about this deconstruction phase too, this destruction phase, and this churning things up phase. And all of this is happening within your sacral chakra. All of this is happening within your sacral chakra. Is anybody experiencing any issues in that area? Like, are you feeling lower back pain? Are you feeling, maybe you're not, like, there's no, like, true diagnosis to it. Are you dealing with, infections or yeast infections or things of that nature right now? Is this something that is causing you some problems? And do you feel a little off also with what you're passionate about? Do you feel like you don't know what you're truly passionate about? I have an idea of what my purpose is, but I don't really know. Give me a hands up if that's you. Like, I don't know, I kind of know what my purpose is, but I don't know what I don't feel the passion around it. I'm not feeling the passion around my business. Yes, lower back pain, sluggish, passion, major PCOS, lower back pain, but it's sciatica. Yes, my passion is off PCOS. Kim says yes. Hi, Erica. Hello. Real low back pain. Hits hard, then goes away. Hits hard, then goes away. Okay. That could be related to root 2. I'm talking more like kind of at above the bottom of the spine, kind of like in the lower abdomen region of your back, right? And just, yeah, kind of like lower belly pain, pelvic pain, infections, things of that nature. So, what I want to say about body pain and the things that we're diagnosed with around that. Like, I don't want to give you any sense of falsehood. Like when they say, you have, endometriosis, for example. I don't want you to be like, oh no, you don't have endometriosis, it's just emotional trauma. Because the truth is that you could have endometriosis, or you could have I don't want to say a liking. You could have the genes and everything that I've really got to get my medical terminology on. You could have you could have an issue with endometriosis, and then having the emotional pain can exaggerate it. Okay, it can exaggerate it. Oftentimes when it's like phantom pains and they don't know what it is, it could be just emotional, right? It could be just emotional. So this is the part where we really want to start to get connected to our body. We want to get connected to the feelings within our body. We want to get connected to the pains and stuff that come up, and to the places in our body that may be vulnerable, right? And as women, the pelvic region is a very vulnerable place for many of us. I as well. So I have to be in clearance of this chakra all the time. I have to be in awareness of this chakra all the time, right? So when we have an emotional pain or we have trauma, it can actually exacerbate the issues in your body. And today we're talking about the passion center, the sacral, the divine feminine energy, the goddess resides here. The Shakti energy resides here. The Shakti energy resides here. This is what, but a lot of times the reason why we're feeling off from our passion is because we're not feeling into also our divine rage or our divine anger or our divine upsetment. And I wrote a whole post about this today. So I'm just going to kind of like sum it up here. People call it sacred rage. It's divine rage, sacred rage. It's rage. It's an emotion of rage. It's an emotion of anger. It's an emotion. This center, if you think about it, passion and rage are polarities of one another, right? Passion and rage is polarities of one another. So in the sacral, it holds both the energy of deep level passion and rage. It also holds the energy of desire. It also holds the energy of desire. So we're going to get to that in just a second, because this is the desire piece is like a really important piece to all of this, right? Actually, no, Spirit is telling me, Spirit just like coming and whispering in my ear. They're asking me for you to drop down. For those of you that when you close your eyes and you have a desire, like if you ever closed your eyes and thought of yourself, I'm going to give you an example, like a movie star, for example, you're super famous. How many of you have big, crazy visions like that about yourself, but don't really move towards it? How many of you have ever experienced like, you know, this fantasy of like being famous, or this fantasy of like being the greatest writer ever, or this fantasy of like, you know, being the greatest animal advocate that ever lived, or whatever it was? How many of you have ever had a fantasy about yourself with a big vision, but have never really acted on it? Show of hands. Yes. Erica says yes. Who else? Erica says, I have. Who else? Has nobody else had fantasies about this? Don't be shy. Come on over here. Me. I come up with some great, oh my God, my glasses. I got to get better glasses. Some great ideas, and even try them. Never works. Oh, we gotta look at that programming, Katrina. We gotta work at that program. Who else? Morgan says, yes. Don't be shy. Come on up. Tell me. I missed the question. So the question, hi Shannon. The question is, have you ever had like a great fantasy about yourself doing amazing things in the world, or being like super famous, or doing something amazing, like being the greatest writer or the greatest novelist of all time, or, you know, being famous movie star, or, you know, being like the biggest animal advocator in the world? I was distracted by a middle schooler. And she was like, hi, yeah, all the time. All right, Patty. Yes, I'm sure. Oh yeah. Okay. So I make a point of it. Good. Because the one thing that I want to say is that these crazy fantasies that you have, these crazy ideas that go through your noggin, you know, people are like, oh, it's just my imagination. You know, it's just some like daytime fantasy or whatever. It's desire. It's the divine. It's the divine feminine at work, showing you what is possible. Showing you what is possible, right? So this desire comes from that deep passion place in the sacral, and it's delivered as a dream. It's delivered as a fantasy. It's delivered as an imagination. One of the things that we're going to be really tapping into in esoteric emergence is the imagination, because the imagination is such a powerful, powerful vessel of the mind. It's such a powerful way that we communicate with the divine, that we communicate with spirit, that we communicate with angels, that we communicate with the divine. This is why things like visualization work so well, right? So tapping into the imagination center of the brain, working with the imagination center of the brain is going to actually help you to communicate with your divine teams in such a huge way, right? So as you begin to get things like fantasies drop in or ideas drop in, and it feels really good and you get kind of like a tingle in your body when you're imagining it, or you kind of like feel that like lightheartedness, or it's like kind of fun, that's telling you that it's divine to you, that it's possible for you. Because we couldn't certainly dream up anything that wasn't divine to us. Like, I would never be able to sit here right now and create an image around me being a scientist, because I have no interest in becoming a scientist, right? Or even a surgeon, because I don't want to cut anybody open. Thank you, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to come up with that vision with me in it, because, so I'm not, while you may think you're making this stuff up, I cannot make up me being a surgeon, because it's totally not in alignment with who I am, right? Think about that for a minute. If you're able to see it in a vision, you're able to feel it and see it in a vision, and even play with it in a vision, it's divine to you. And these are images and passion coming from the sacral chakra. It's showing you what is possible for you. It is showing you what is possible for you. It's not saying, hey, this is a guarantee that this is where you're going to go, because that's going to be determined upon you. Right? That's going to be determined about where you're working on your mindset. Are you freaking finished with the old identity? Are you ready to step into a new identity? Are you ready to heal these parts? And are you ready to begin to move and process towards that vision? It's showing you what's possible for you, right? But a lot of times too, we start moving into the element of spirituality. We start moving into, that divine peace, and we want peace, and we want bliss, and we want to be in the light. And we don't, we think that when we start moving into spirituality, that everything is supposed to be so beautiful and light all the time. But the truth is that that's not how it works. We talked a little bit yesterday about actually being like, we're here for the experience. We're also here for the polarity of the experience, right? It's a universal law. It's what we're here to do. It's what we're here to discover and to move beyond, right? So the sacral also has this polarity. It has the polarity of rage, anger, frustration. Frustration can be more of a solar plexus, but this is the rage. This is the deep level rage. This is the deep level anger. Deep level anger and deep level rage. I think we've gotten the idea that to be angry or to be enraged, that it's a low vibration. And here's the thing. It may be a low vibration, but it's not, but you could be at a higher level of frequency and have a lower vibration. Does everybody understand that? Frequency and vibration are a little bit different from one another. Our vibrations are going to go up and down as we begin moving through the path. The frequency is what we build upon. The frequency is what we build upon, right? So if we are continually working on ourselves and moving towards, advancement in our lives, yes, the shadows are going to come. Yes, the inner child is going to come. Yes, all those things are going to come, but that doesn't change the frequency unless you begin to change how you operate within the frequency. So if the shadows begin to come and you start to dwell into them and stay with them, then you can begin to lower the frequency, right? So frequency and vibration are very, very different. Well, they're kind of the same. It's a vibration within the frequency. It's a vibration within the frequency. So you could be at a higher level frequency and have a lower vibration emotion come in. That does not make it negative. We're so focused on good and bad. We're so focused on good and bad. Like, how many get annoyed when they hear the statement, it is what it is, and that's all that it is? How many of you say that or get annoyed by it? How many of you say that or get annoyed by it? I just want to do you say it or do you get annoyed by it? It is what it is, and that's all that it is. It is what it is, and that's all that it is. Yes, annoyed. I was like, I'm so annoyed with that statement. I know somebody else is like, oh my God, don't say that. It drives me crazy. I hate that statement. But if you're in that beautiful divine energy, they look at all things as it just is, right? If I'm beyond my body and I'm not living in a 3D reality, I'm living in another dimensional frequency, or I'm living in a dimensional reality, and I'm in the soul mode, and I'm looking down at the things happening, all I see is it is. And you've heard people say things like, oh, the divine don't give a fuck, the divine doesn't care. How many of you have heard that? The divine doesn't give a fuck, the divine doesn't care. It's not so much that they don't give a fuck or they don't care. It's more of they are not placing emotional resonance behind the presence of things. We put, look at me showing off over here. We put emotional resonance behind situations. We call it bad, we call it good, we call it negative, we call it positive. We put the meaning behind the situations. It's not that the divine doesn't give a fuck, right? The divine, the universe looks at it and says, this is what it is. That's all that it is. And what are you going to do with it? Right? So when you start bringing in like a high emotion to the thing, you start bringing a high emotion to the thing, and let's say it's a high, quote unquote, negative emotion to the thing, the universe sees that as you trying to create that emotion into that thing, and will begin to deliver more of that to you. This is where we get bumped up on the law of attraction, right? This is where we get kind of crazed up on the law of attraction. So if you're like, let's just do a house payment, for example, right? Let's do a house payment for an example. And, your house payment's due October 1st, and you're worried about money, and a lot of money's been going out, and you're starting to freak out about the money, and you think, oh my God, I'm not going to have the money. How am I going to create the money to pay my mortgage on October 1st? And you stay in that energy, 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 and all of a sudden you start to get fear, and you get to get scared, and you start to cry about it, and you think the universe is going to come in and sweep in and go, no, that's not going to happen. But the way that you're speaking to them, you're giving emotional resonance to the thing, and they think, oh, this is what she desires, right? Because they're not gauging anything as negative or positive. They're gauging your emotional resonance to the thing. Are y'all feeling me on that? Is everybody getting what I'm putting down? Is anybody getting what I'm putting down? Is everybody getting what I'm putting down? So if you were in the opposite, like, hell yeah, I'm going to be creating. I'm creating. Everything's going to be wonderful. I love it. If you're giving emotional resonance, and you're feeling it, and you're knowing it, and you're embodying that, that's Goddess energy, by the way. She knows as she does, she creates, and she doesn't worry about the results. She knows it's going to happen. You put that kind of emotional resonance in, and the universe responds, right? The universe responds. But the problem is that we have these negative emotions and positive emotions. We're 3D beings. We're supposed to have these emotions. We're not just supposed to wipe our emotions away. We came here to have emotion. We came here to experience emotion. We came here to experience sorrow and loss and fear and excitement and joy and all that stuff. We came to experience it all, right? So when we try to bypass emotions, we are bypassing some of the reasons why we're here. We're bypassing some of the reasons why we're here. So it's not just about, I'm going to have a positive reaction to this thing. I'm going to change the way I react to this thing, and I'm going to have a positive reaction. Because if you're not doing the work underneath the reasons why you were having the negative reaction, all you're really doing is just creating more of a negative reaction, right? Because the baseline, if you had a negative, it's what you believe is true. Y'all still feel me on this? Anybody got any questions on this before we continue moving forward? Sacral is a big manifesting chakra. It's a big manifesting chakra. This is why we're talking about this tonight. It's a big manifesting chakra. Has anybody got any questions or confused or anything here right now? You can't just change. You can't just say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to change my feelings. I'm just going to change my feelings and go, okay, now I'm super positive. I'm super positive. Yay. We can't just do that, right? Because those negative emotions derived from a subconscious idea that you had. So we have to begin to repair what's underneath the hood, right? We've got to pull up the hood. We have to deconstruct. We have to start repairing what's under the hood. The other day I wrote a post on, that your foundations are not fucking broken. I was like, stop it. Your foundations are not fucking broken. And I had a lot of people kind of respond to me in a weird kind of way, because I guess they thought what I meant by that is that, we don't have to do the deconstruction. There's no, I think people thought that I was talking against shadow work or against, moving beyond our shadows and deconstructing and I was like, no, that has nothing to do with it. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. It's understanding that the foundation that you have is divine, strong. The divine foundation of you. The foundation is divine and it's strong. We build on top of the divine foundation. We put emotions there and we don't look at them. We bypass them. We put ideas there. We put thoughts about ourselves there. We just keep burying on top of the foundation. And before you know it, we can't find the foundation. We can't get our footing on the foundation. So everything becomes wobbly. So we have to deconstruct to pull up the foundation, or to get back to the foundation, right? Which is divine and strong. And within every human, your foundation is not is not broken. The spark of the divine within the soul. Yes, your foundation is not broken. You are all have strong divine foundations. It's not broken. It's just that there's a lot of shit on top of it. And we got to get the shovel and we got to get into our Kali, deconstructive, destroy the shit action. And that means when the feeling erupts, visit it. Don't walk away from it. It's not unspiritual of you to be angry. It's not unspiritual of you to have rage. It's not unspiritual of you to have, to be pissed off. And people think, oh, I'm going to be more spiritual and I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to walk away and I'm going to turn the other cheek and I'm going to walk away from it. You wouldn't have these emotions available to you if you weren't supposed to feel them. Right? You would not have these emotions available to you if you weren't supposed to. The divine don't make no mistakes. It don't make no mistakes. If we're created from the divine gives us emotions to experience. Do you think it's a mistake that they've given us the emotion of rage? Do you think? No, of course they don't. Right? Of course they didn't, right? It's not a mistake. We're not a mistake. These emotions are not a mistake. But we need to be able to feel the emotions. Hey, Lauren, we need to be able to feel the emotions. We need to be able to see what the emotions are telling us about the stories that we've implanted into our subconscious brain. Rage comes up because you've had enough. You're sick of the shit, right? Rage comes up because you're sick of the shit, right? You're sick of it. You get into that fucking energy and it's because you're sick of it. So if you're going to bury that, then you don't ever get the opportunity to uncover what's caused the rage to begin with. To uncover it. To shovel it out. So when we begin to feel rage, instead of ignoring it, we just tell you, when you bypass it, that rage moves up into your power zone, which is solar plexus, which we'll be talking about tomorrow. It moves into your power zone and it clogs up the pipes. It goes up to be held in your power center. Yeah, maybe you are pissed. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe you are angry. Have you ever just screamed? Ah! Have you ever screamed? Ah! I did it in the car today. I drove down there. Every time I do these programs, guys are like, okay, yeah, we're going to give you exactly what you're teaching tonight. Right? So I had this little moment where I had to get in my car. I had to go find a quiet place. And I had to literally scream, right? Just scream and let it out. And that feeling of it coming up is beautiful. It's a beautiful release. It made me feel lighter so that I could process what was coming up. If I'm covering up what needs to come up by rage, I'm not getting to the bottom of anything. I'm not healing, right? It's okay to get angry. It's okay to punch a pillow. It's okay to have a temper tantrum. It's okay to rage. It's okay to motherfucker, right? It's okay. It's your human. It's the 3D version of you that's experiencing an emotion that's coming up from a deeper layer of something. There's something that the rage is trying to bring up for you. It's trying to help you. You know, I mean, if we go into a rage and we start beating people up and, you know, that kind of thing, and then we're not directing our rage in the right direction, not fueling our rage in the right direction. But we can make a conscious choice to fuel our rage in a positive direction. And that's to feel what's coming up and allow yourselves to be angry, to let it loose, to fire it off into, you know, written words, not to people, hopefully, right? You're okay, right? I am usually angry at myself. You may just really be angry. Have you ever thought about that? Could you ever write it out about what you're angry about? And if you're usually angry about yourself, then that is a frequency that you're putting yourself in. You need to work on more self-love, and you need to work on more of pulling out your emotions and maybe even taking a look at what's also there that's positive and loving for you too. I read and own a book called Pagan Anger, Magic, good book. Nice. Yeah, and if anybody has some resources that they want to share on this, to share with the group, you're welcome to do that after the live. You can share them in the group. So anybody who's done any kind of sacred anger work or anything of that nature, you're welcome to post resources in the group about it too, because this is such important work. Because when we start healing and releasing these anger pieces, what's left, it's kind of like this determination, right? This is determination that begins to come through you. And when determination begins to rise, that's when we start making boundaries and goals and, you know, deciding what we're not available for anymore. It's really developing a spiritual life isn't just about being airy-fairy all the time. There's a lot of work that comes with it. Your life will implode in so many ways, but it's imploding to help you grow and develop and begin to get a deeper understanding of yourself, right? Okay, so allowing the rage and fueling the rage, I love fairies. Fueling the rage can be a very positive experience because it can begin to heal and bring up the shadows. Remember, shadows are they're like the things that come up from the ideas that have been that you identify yourself by. Does it make sense? So your shadows will come up, and then you can begin to look at them honestly, and then begin to flip the perspective. Patty says, I just spent a month exploring sacred anger with Pele, Sekhmet, and Kali in my coven. Nice. So we talked about Kali earlier. Yeah, I mean, she talked about, you know, destruction, energy. It's very powerful work. And if you want to share anything, Patty, about what you've learned, I would love that too. Patty is an admin or moderator here in the group. I want my life to be fairy all the time. I'm trying to build this life. But the thing is that this experience that you're in isn't always just, there's two polarities to everything, right? There's two polarities to each side. There's two poles to every side. And we're going to experience things that we need to experience so that we can get to a more positive mindset. And this is kind of where I'm going with this. Once we begin to transmute the energy, once we begin to transcend from the anger, transcend from the rage, and transmute, we can transmute the energy from what was rage into fueling our passions and desires, which is also sacral energy, right? This is where you get super passionate about the work that you're called to do. This is where you get super passionate about the things that you love to do, the ways that you want to share. So moving beyond that rage connects you to the passion, right? Now, I don't want to run out of time, so I end up talking a lot, so you guys just bear with me. So we want to be moving through the rage. We want to be moving through the anger. We want to be honest with ourselves. We want to begin to transcend the rage so that we can transmute it into a more positive, passion-centered focus. And every time that we begin to move forward and we start getting motivated and we start feeling that determination, it's going to create more. It's going to create more to follow, because we're evolutionary beings. We create and we destroy. We create and we destroy. Create and destroy. We cannot be afraid of the destroy process. We cannot be afraid of the destroying process, right? In order to create, we must destroy. In order to create, we must destroy. Right? So we cannot be afraid of this process. But then we get those passion pieces. The next thing you know, you're having fantasies about, doing great things and doing amazing things in the world. That is purpose. And you'll notice, if you pay attention to the fantasies that you have about yourself. We talked yesterday about, having those struggles. Those struggles really can probably mean a lot to your purpose, like challenges that you have in your life, the struggles that you have in your life. They can actually be a sign of your purpose. If you notice, pay attention, a lot of your fantasies are surrounded by not having the struggles and challenges that you had or have. Pay attention. Pay attention to the desire. Because this is the work you're called to do. You're called to transcend all of this. You're called to the challenge. You're called to the challenge. You're being called. You are a warrior-ess, and you're being called. Right? So they're saying this is the challenge. The only way to know how to move through a challenge is to move through the challenge. You got to have the challenge in front of you in order to move through it so that you can get to the other side of it and understand it. I've had a hard time with anger because it was a total problem in my family. Still is with some of my family. So I over control it. So this is beautiful, right? Because we're talking about directed focus anger. So unmanageable anger it can absolutely be coming from. So unmanageable, uncontrolled anger comes from a lower frequency. Think about this for a minute, Katrina. Comes from a lower frequency, comes from fear. But when you have rage and anger come up and you fuel it in a positive direction, you could be in a high frequency and release the anger and rage in a positive direction, where you're not targeted at people, but you're writing it out. You're jumping up and down. You're exercising, right? So this is about focusing the anger, focusing the rage in a way that's going to create positive impact for you and your family, and not negative impact for you and your family. So I totally get what you're saying there, but this is a good awareness for you, because this is opening things up, and maybe there's some rage and anger that wants to come up because of that, right? Maybe this is a release that you're moving through. So this is very powerful work. As we start moving these things, the directed focus, the fantasies come alive for us, and it's like we start playing in our minds. And it's always, always, always related around, or most of the time, 90% of the time, related around what is challenging us. The divine made no mistake with you. Your desires and your fantasies that you have about yourself, you're not crazy. You're not out of your mind. You're not some average, unique human being. All of you are special. Every single one of you has something very special gift that can only bring you to the world, right? There's only one you. And this identity in the 3D world, there's no duplication of you. So who you are is unique. The things that you've gone through are unique. Yes, it can speak to other people. Yes, our experiences can speak to one another. But how you develop through those experiences, how you resonate through those experiences, how you challenge those experiences, how you got to the other side of those experiences is very unique. So when people start talking about moving into the passion purpose and go, it's an oversaturated market, that's bullshit. It's bullshit. Because there's only one you. There's only one you. That's all that exists, is one you. Right? So one of the ways that we can begin to create a relationship with our sacral chakra and really tap into the wisdom that's there in our sacral chakra. There's a lot of wisdom in the sacral chakra. Is begin through pleasure and recognizing that this connection to sacral is actually pleasure. It's pleasure, right? You are pleasure. You are the goddess energy. You are the divine feminine. You are pleasure. And getting more connected to your pleasure is going to get you more connected to the sacral and the wisdom that it holds. And I've heard a lot of controversy on this because you hear people talking about pussy power and the pussy classes, and then you have other coaches going, what in the hell are you talking about pussy? What? This is like, what, how does it have any placement in it? So here's the thing. Manifestation is created through a very high level of vibration in a very high frequency, right? When it can happen instantaneously. When you're in a very high frequency, when you're in a very high vibration and a higher frequency, manifestation can happen like this, right? And so a lot of people are experiencing this idea of like the pleasure principle to manifest money and manifest opportunities and moving into self-pleasure, right? The pleasure principle, moving into self-pleasure. But what if you already are pleasure? What if you already are pleasure, but you're just not tapped into that pleasure side of you, right? So, yes, self-pleasure, masturbation, having sex, tantric sex, and those kind of things, tantric massage, and all of those things I see people dropping off because I said the SEX word, and it's scary. I know. It's like, what are you talking about? Those things can put you in a higher vibration and a high frequency. It all comes from the sacral energy, right? It all comes from the sacral energy. And you know that moment right before an orgasm. You know that moment right before an orgasm, okay? You know that moment right before an orgasm, that moment right before where you are zinging high, right? Zinging high right before the release. That's the magic. That's the magic. That is the magic. That's when people are in that process of manifestation, they are living out their manifestations in that peace. And if you can hold on to it longer, if you can hold on to that moment longer before you release it, you are creating like that, right? You're creating like that. So what I want to talk to you about in this exercise is, yes, I want you to go have self-pleasure. I want you to have pleasure with your partner. Make your partner a part of it. Or you can do it all by yourself, right? But here's another way to start to get really connected to your sacral and into your root as well. And that's by touch. Touch. Have you ever just allowed yourself to very lightly touch? Let's just touch your palm very lightly, like a feather. Touch your arm. Touch up into your shoulders. Touch up into your neck. Touch up into your face. It is very sensual. It's very beautiful. And it creates that feeling that you have. Maybe not as intense, but it could be if you keep going right before an orgasm. But it also gets you connected to your body. Trace the body's meridian lines. Beautiful. It's basically just touch. Giving yourself an auric massage, touching the face, touching the body, touching the legs, touching the feet, touching the hands, touching the fingers, just lightly. Just lightly. As she says, trace it. Just lightly. Getting connected to your body. You're not only going to get connected to your pleasure and who you are in your pleasure, but you're also going to get connected to those areas that are more vulnerable and are in pain and need your attention. So when you start doing this touch therapy, when you start moving along your body and using this touch therapy, and you find those vulnerable places, you give them love, right? And maybe there's parts of your body that maybe you don't like. I look at my hands sometimes, I'm like, oh my God, I can see I'm going into 50, my hands are getting the lines in them. But you know what? These hands have done a million beautiful things in its life, right? So I've got to give love to my hands. I've got to give love to my hands. I got to love it. Love my hands and thank my hands. So when you find the vulnerable parts of your body that are in pain, or maybe that you don't favor, you give them extra attention, you give them love. And this is a beautiful process that you can do. I often tell women, get in front of the mirror. Get naked. Get naked in front of the mirror. Become comfortable in your own skin. Love who you are in your own skin. Begin that tracing. Begin that touch. Begin that connection to your body. Love all the parts of you. They're beautiful. This body is magnificent. It's carried you. It has an energy all of its own. Right? It wants to be loved. It wants to be cared for. It wants to be nourished. Love the body. Get connected to your pleasure principle. I'm going to tell you something. This can be some very powerful, deep level work by connecting into your pleasure. It may bring out the rage. It may bring out the anger. It may bring out the shadows. But it will. It will connect you to your pleasure. It will connect you to your dream and your fantasy. It will connect you. Okay? Okay, so I am... Whew, that felt good today. That felt good today. I hope all of you received it well. Again, we'll be sending out this email tomorrow morning with this link in here. For those of you who are really digging this content, especially yesterday and today, I'm telling you, Esoteric Emergence is going to be fire. It's going to be all this fire plus more. You're going to spend 9 weeks with me, 9 weeks in a container with me with other amazing women who are going through the same processes, developing our psychic abilities, stepping deeper into our goddess selves, beginning to understand our 3D work and our 5D connections and 7D connections. I would love to invite you into Esoteric Emergence right now. It's under an early bird of $555. It's a 9-week program. You're going to get 12. There's 12 calls on the 9-week program that are going to be really focused, going into deep dives around this. There's also going to be some activations and healings, and there'll be some other kind of works like journaling prompts and journeys as well. So I'm going to put a link into that, if I can find it. If I can find it, I'm going to put a link into that. There it is. Okay. And then I'll put it right here. Again, if you do sign up for Esoteric Emergence, not only have you made a very great decision in your moving forward in your life and really developing your gift set and your skills and your connection to the divine and living a divinely guided life, you'll also get an extra couple entries into my giveaway. Right? So you got to do it for the giveaway. No, please do it for yourself. Please do it for yourself. Please do it for the growth and so if you're feeling called to this, don't get afraid of the investment. $555 is a great investment for a program like this, but don't get afraid of the investment. Ask yourself, how can I move towards the investment? Anybody want to working on a deep level with me? All right, there it is. Anyone wanting to work on a deep level with me through this program, I do have a VIP option, which you'll also get 9 one-on-one sessions with me throughout the program. It's $2,222 for that. But there's also payment plans involved. If you have any questions about it, don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to message me. Don't send an email. DM me directly if you have any questions about it. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have and dig deeper. Okay? I love you guys. I have no idea what time we are tomorrow. Uh-oh. I have no idea. I don't have the calendar. I don't think I have my Google Calendar tomorrow. Tomorrow we're working on the power of you. The power. I'm gonna have the power. All right, let's see. I don't know what's gonna show up in my calendar here. I don't think so. I don't think that's the same calendar. It's not. I will get back to you on what time it is tomorrow. So I'm so excited to talk to you tomorrow. So excited to connect with each one of you. I hope you have a blessed evening. Please, I'm going to write another post. Let us know what your takeaway is. Let us know what your takeaway is. So other people getting connected and maybe feeling the same takeaways. This is a great way to create connection with one another and peership and sisterhood with one another. So I'd love for you to share what your takeaways are. And then you also get an extra point for the giveaway, which is so cool. Okay. Love you all. Thank you.